Hey everyone, thanks so much for waiting. How are you all doing this evening? Wonderful, okay. More enthusiasm, please. There we go. This is a very exciting event. So we're here for the launch of the Scribbler, of course, for Fort Richmond Collegiate. My name is Christian Enright. I'm one of the events facilitators here at the store. I'd like to welcome you all here. That said, my purpose is rather brief here. I will just fade like an irrelevant figurehead and welcome somebody else up here who will be actually hosting the show for you. So I will just tell you a little bit about the structure of the evening. There will, of course, be the consumption of cake. There will also be an informal signing process. So if you want to just approach one of the authors yourself, they can sign the book through that method. So now I'm going to call up the real MC of the evening, Demeter. Please join me in welcoming.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Demeter Tomovsky, and I am excited beyond measure to introduce you all to the 6th edition of Fort Richmond Collegiate's Literary and Creative Arts Anthology, The Scribbler. This year was quite a roller coaster. Like any good adventure, there were ups and downs. There were many days that I felt like giving up, but there were also days that I felt as high as a kite with excitement, or should I say, as high as a hot air balloon. The Scribbler is Fort Richmond Collegiate's gateway to adventure in which students can share their writing, artwork, photography, and original compositions in a professionally published physical form. It's an opportunity for teenagers to transport the people that they know to far-off lands with a stroke of a brush or the scratch of a pen. We hope our works of art and literature inspire you as much as we have been inspired to create them. Without further ado, I'd like to start off the celebration by presenting my piece, My Revelation. I started this piece after the worst period of my life. Last June, I had a brain aneurysm that put me in a coma for 10 days and in the hospital for a month. This event really opened my eyes to what I really value and what is really important to my life. Before my stroke, I would dream of fame, money, and power. I used to think I was special, that I was unique and important, yet misunderstood. I craved attention badly and wanted to be in the limelight more than anything in the world. However, I've begun to look at life more rationally, and I've put my time and effort on the things that are more important to me since I've almost lost them. I've spent less time daydreaming on selfish fantasies that I used to enact in my head every day, and more time thinking realistically about what I want to do with my life and what this life can do for me. Without this poem, I would have been lost when I tried to find meaning in my being the months following my stroke. I've fought through disillusionment and have come through with a sense of self that makes me happy and that isn't fake or fantasy. All this I try to express through my revelation. I've discovered that after 17 years of complete idolization, that my whole self-possessed view of reality has led to self-indignation. I have something shared among narcissistic teenagers across every first world nation. Truth be told, we all believe we have some unique, earth-changing mutation, only to have our world crumble down when not even those we consider friends show us any appreciation. Our whole academic careers have been composed of the battle for receiving from others high validation, and when it is denied to us has led to immense irritation. Why it is we have to feel special in a world of 7 billion is of great fascination. We have to be good at something, and for me I guess it's creative writing by process of elimination. If only I could go back and change my scholarly decisions as easily as my verbal intonation, because I feel I've fallen back to being normal by looks of my university application, and I'm scared of not receiving even the lowliest invitation. I know I'll never be special if I try to live up to my delusional expectations, but I'm not going to stop having goals. I'm just going to have to set them with more logic than imagination. Then maybe I can save myself from this petty, vain creation. I'd now like to invite Bona Louie up onto the stage. Can you click the next slide now to present her piece, A Fair Day in Manitoba.
Hi, I'm Wanalui Nandu, and I wrote this because not many people have time to spend time with their parents or don't take that opportunity, so this is a piece I wrote about when my dad and I hung out. Today is such a beautiful day. The sun is shining bright, everyone is wearing shorts. It's a perfect day for wearing sunglasses and heading to the park. Today my dad and I decided to go and play soccer with people from our church. I, of course, decided to go with him. Lately it seems we get fewer and fewer of these opportunities. As we get to the park, we find some of the young boys and girls around the fire. They are roasting smokies and hot dogs. I myself am not a fan of smokies, so I make myself a hot dog. Hearing everyone talking and laughing is wonderful, and the happiness in their eyes is beautiful. In the background, I can see some of the boys passing the soccer ball around to each other. Now it's time to play soccer. A group of us walk to the field. My brother chooses team captains. There's something you should know about me. I am not a great when it comes to soccer, but I try to play at least, even though I'm not great as the boys. About 2 hours later, the game is finally finished. I'm not sure who exactly won, but I'm pretty sure my team lost. Well, now I'm home, having a bonfire with the coolest person on the planet, my dad. We are cooking some chicken and some sweet potatoes. Together we talk about life and enjoying each other's company. I inhale and take the moment. The smell of bonfire makes me feel warm and fuzzy, with the blanket, of course. The day is almost at an end. My day was good. I had lots of fun, and I got some exercise outside and roasted my dinner. It was nice to hang out with my dad and have him to all myself. And I guess that's what you would say, that's the way a cookie crumbles with my dad.
I would like to now invite up to the stage Jerlane Marinan to present her piece, Bloom.
So my work explores the concept of the human mind. It capitalizes on the dualities of optimism and pessimism. Evidently, we see two girls representing myself. The colorful figure exemplifies how positivity and pure belief of oneself can help you grow as a person. This explains the flower sprouting from her head. Conversely, the dark figure illustrates how engulfing yourself in pessimism drains you and leaves you empty. Pessimism urges you to see the worst aspects of things. But life is so much more than all the bad things, because the world is immense and full of beauty. I was a person who expected the worst for myself from whatever happened in my past. But I firmly believe the future holds many great opportunities for all of us. The dandelions flying off from the head provide that symbol. The dandelion seeds fly away without knowing where they will land, but on a place where they land, new life will begin. Being detached from the old allows one to gain the new. The seeds grow and develop having found a new place, and that explains life really. Things get better and new chapters begin. This shows my progression on my outlook of life, and that's how I want to execute the contrast between the two figures. Overall, I believe that art serves as one of the most genuine forms of communication because it encourages thoughtful progression. Art is made to encourage the expansion of awareness. It is not an act of seeking for the sake of finding an answer. Art does not call for an end. It inspires beginnings and a means to progress and benefit from all that one can absorb and produce. Thank you.
I would now like to invite Joy Du up onto the stage to present her piece, The Girl. I would now like to invite Nina Lam onto the stage.
Hi. How's everyone doing? So my piece is a poem titled Covers, and before I get into what the piece is about and really the meaning behind it, my pieces usually revolve around extended metaphors. So to me, I think that extended metaphors are really beautiful in the way that the beginning flows into the end and how everything connects at the end, and you can see how everything relates to each other. So I believe that life flows this way as well, and how what you did yesterday may influence what you do today, and what you did maybe 5 years ago may influence maybe not who you are today, but how you are today. So everything that you do and everything that has happened to you has an impact on who you are today. So by using extended metaphors, I can really convey that in my poetry. Poetry has always been my form of choice. I love writing poetry, not as much as I like writing poetry and not as much as short stories or any other form. So it's always been really my way of expression. It's been my consolation during sadness or anger or even happiness, and it's given me a lot of comfort in my life. So I believe that I really like this form because poetry really suits my style of writing. It's really choppy, it's really in your face, I really like using sentence fragments, getting to the point. So it's a good balance between being flowery and being concise at the same time. So naturally, because I love poetry so much and I love extended metaphors, I submitted a poem with an extended metaphor to the Scribbler. And the word covers refers to both the cover of a book and bed covers. So I wrote it after meeting someone who had a really impactful story, and at first I was really skeptical and I wasn't really willing to give them a chance to be their friend, but after I got to know them, I found that it was really worth my time and that they were a really intriguing person. And so I realized that you shouldn't judge someone based off of a first impression, and that you should always give someone a chance, just like how you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, and you should always give that book a chance as well. So without further ado, I'm going to read my poem, Covers. When was the last time you read a person? A person you never would have given a chance otherwise. Dusted them off and caressed their wilting spine, scrutinized the hollowed lines of text on their forehead, gripped the corner of the page so tightly that an indented eye bag formed at their underneath your fingertips. Maybe if you ignored the faint crinkles that defaced the cover and the frayed edges from years of being used, you'd realize that people are much more than their bodies. Maybe all you're missing is the scent of a new book, the smell from when you open him for the first time. Old Spice cologne, that's what the words were printed in, because his sentences were formed only to please her. You're missing the crack of his spine as he writhed underneath the sheets with his girlfriend, bound to seduction as she whispered in his dog ears and wrote in his margins with mascara and lipstick. But even though lust isn't permanent, a pen is. And the day their chapter ended, his inky eyes spilled onto his skin and marked it with bruises of self-hatred and regret. He spent months trying to tear out the pages of dog ears and lies scrawled in the margins, but no matter how hard he tried to rewrite his story, the story that should have ended with happily ever after but didn't, he couldn't. If you judge a book by its cover, how could you ever know its story? How could you ever know that the coffee stains were from nights spent awake thinking about her? How could you ever know that the creases were her love letters folded and thrown in the trash? You don't need to buy biographies to hear about someone's life. All you need to do is give someone new a chance. Dust them off and caress their wilting spine. Kiss the hollowed lines of text on their forehead. Grip them so tightly that they'll never let go. Maybe that's all they were looking for. A person to check them out. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. I'd now like to invite onto the stage Tina Zhang to present her piece, You Light Up the Sky and Me. No, not this one, the other one. There we go. No, keep going. This one.
Hi everyone. When you hear the word prostitute, what will you be thinking? Most of the people assume the word prostitute relates to all sorts of negative things. But let's leave this question for now. People say she chose to do it, but have you ever wondered maybe she never had any choices? People say she's just a machine, she has no emotions. But have you ever wondered that there was a person who she loves and cares about? I've heard a lot of stories in my life. One of them really got stuck in my mind. My friend knows a person whose name is Alex. He never comes to school. He fights with people when they don't agree with him. He gets drunk
and he smokes. People around him say he's a lousy guy with no friends. He never responds to any of them. But one day, my friend caught him in a restaurant talking to an old lady pleasantly. He was smiling and he paid a bill after. Then I found out the old lady lived next door to Alex. She lost her son a month ago in a car accident. That was the time when Alex began to talk to her every day, just to bring some brightness to her life. This event made me ponder. People stereotype a person based on what they think they are, without even talking to him directly. Sometimes appearance hides reality. Some people act the opposite way of what they truly are to protect themselves from the society. People wear masks so they won't get hurt. All these things inspired me to write this short story. Please let me share a part of my writing with you now. Carl, will I die? My 9-year-old little sister was lying on the bed. Her eyes looked at dim like my heart and my world without her. Her name's Claire. I changed her name to Claire when our parents abandoned us. I remember when she was little, she would use her left hand to hold her only friend, who was a teddy bear. She would use her right hand to hold mine. On this particular day, we kept walking until the sky became navy. Hey, look up. See those stars? That's you and me. We stopped. I took her hand and pointed at the vast sky. Now your name's Claire. That means gorgeous, bright, and brilliant. With these 3 things are my hopes for you, I went on. Claire. Her tears dried on her little cheek. Claire, with that I, stands for I love you. From now on, I will always stand by my left side, close to my heart. I was 15, and she was 3. No, never. I answered that Claire's silly question was the most confident I've ever had. But I feel bad. I'm scared, Carl. Her beautiful voice trembled. Remember how you always say you want to move to Boston? I hand her a peeled apple. Yes, her eyes lighted. We'll move to there after the surgery is done. Really? But we don't have the money to do the surgery. Who told you that? We do have the money. What did I tell you before? What? All you have to do is relax. Now, let's focus on the previous question. When you hear the word prostitute, what will you be thinking? Thank you.
Up next, we have Justin Tia with Melancholy.
Hello. Okay. Melancholia, a feeling of sadness or depression. Perhaps I watch far too many dramas or listen to more sad songs than I should, but this imagery poem was a fun little project I did for a class. It's short, but not sweet at all. My visual poem details heartbreak and, well, melancholia, I hope. I tried to show as much feeling and emotion as I could behind the blunt statements. The art helped doing that. I used watercolors and inks to paint the scenery. I also tried to paint the background scenes to match the words and get the meanings across. So now I'm going to read my sad little poem. Enjoy. Okay. The lines on her face crack open like the sky with her lifted veil, he thinks with a sigh. Their life was lit with fire and passion, a spark too bright to last in the wind. He met a girl at work. The stars in her eyes feel like fire in his gut as he leaves and climbs out the girl's window. Their pillowcase smells like the perfume of another girl. Pain, she thinks, tastes bitter and sweet and sad. She did nothing.
Next, I would like to present Olu Afolabi, presenting We Are Kids.
Good evening. So today I'll be presenting a spoken word called We Are Kids. We're good? Alright. Okay, so today I'm going to be presenting a poem called We Are Kids. Growing up as a child, I found that I had a lot of questions to ask, and I found that I asked so much of the world, usually questions I couldn't get answers to. And in order to get these answers, I found I wrote poems and pieces to find my answers. And so this poem was inspired by one of my favorite artists called Shane Quaison. And yeah, so this is called We Are Kids. I remember as a child, I would stack cushions 3 to 4 feet high and then jump off them. I remember the rush I would get off it, the adrenaline racing through my veins. I remember saying to myself, gosh, this has to be the best feeling ever. But that was until one particular day, my cousin jumped off and broke his arm. You would think seeing my cousin being rushed to a hospital would make me stop jumping off 3-foot cushions. But boy, oh boy, were you wrong. And I kept going at every chance I could. Feeling the rush and adrenaline race through my veins as my cousin sat and watched me scream my lungs out. I guess it wasn't that much fun for him. You see, the thing was, we were kids. Innocent and simple-minded. See, we were kids. All we wanted to do was run around in the sand, stay up past 10:30, eat candy after we brushed our teeth, and most importantly, have superpowers. We were kids. We were innocent and feeble-minded, so easily tricked and gullible when fairy tales, myth, and stories ignited a spark in the soul of every child. We were kids. We were most vulnerable, most frightened by the little, scared, most hurt by the brutal words. We were kids. So innocent and pure, so simple-minded, but yet devilishly cruel. See, she was 14 when she was first diagnosed with chronic depression. 5 o'clock, she was awake each day, ready to mount on her armories. Like insecurity, she plucked away at those baby eyebrows until they formed a perfect arch across her face. See, like Nike, she gathered her arsenal of weapons, marching towards battle, hoping to gain victory as though beauty queen. See, layers upon layers, she would bake her face in foundation, letting pieces of herself go by each passing day. But beneath each layer lay the scared little girl who had been oppressed her whole life, who had been shut down for believing in herself, conforming to the words of some kid who had the audacity to call her fat. See, each day she would stare at the mirror and all she could see were her so-called imperfections, looking up to ideological beliefs of perfection, hoping with each pill she could reach that expectation. A 00. He was 15. Twice regional chess champion, 6th year honor roll, and an IQ of 152, but yet a 5th level suicidal. School became like battlegrounds where it was the survivor of the fittest and only the coolest and the strongest survived. Where they were all gladiators fighting to hold on to little bits of their humanity left, striving to hold on to little bits of themselves left. Day after day, he would walk the wretched school grounds with his head bowed to the ground, hoping, begging for a moment of exaltation. As though school wasn't enough, he went on each day to a drunken man to call a father and a workaholic woman to call a mother, who paid little to no attention to him, leaving him to the torment of his very own mind. His world came crashing before him, causing him to fall deeper and deeper into the abyss of depression. With no one to turn to, with nothing to turn towards, he was lost to the vicious circle of drugs and gangs. You see, like a game of follow the leader, they pointed at footprints and told us to follow like we were mere reflections of another man's life. We were told to look up to someone as a mentor, someone who were inspired by aspiring to become. And so we searched and searched high and low these wretched grounds, looking for our very own Yoda. We spent so much time with our eyes fixated on the clouds, hoping we could find someone to emulate, someone to look up to, something to focus on in order to drain out the animosity we have grown towards life. We spend so much time fixated on the outward, we forgot to look within. Because within lay the soul who had spent their whole life in fear and pain. Within lay the soul with a burning desire, waiting for an opportunity to burst through and live. Because within lay the soul who had gone through fire and came out refined as gold. See, I always wondered, why can't we explore and wander the grounds of this earth? Why can't we create our very own footprints, like a flower in spring waiting for opportunity to burst through and live? Because within lays the definition of beauty and a soul full of passion and determination, a fighter who never gives up. Because within lays a soul who all through the storms of life still stands here, standing tall, with your head held high to the sky. Thank you.
Up next, you have me. Okay. When you place me in a classroom, my mind wanders as it's not interested in said class. Even though my mind tries to keep it motivated, it's not enough. When you put me in front of a piano, I don't stop playing. It's to the point where you just want to leave the room. Like, yo, I want to sleep. Could you please stop playing? No, please let me do it. It's my passion. My mind flows with ideas, and I try my best to convey them. Even though that's not the case for most of my ideas, this piece is an example of one. It's heavily inspired by the cartoon show Over the Garden Wall. This show takes place in the 19th, 20th century Americana. And now, if you can imagine that, and then imagine an abandoned building spawning flora and fauna, resting on a hill during night, that's a good picture. Now, if you would keep that image in mind throughout the piece, then I've done my job as a composer. Now, enjoy. Pardon my pajamas and for being out of time sometimes. But if you're wondering how we got music into the book, we have QR codes. And so with that, you can use your phones if you have a QR code reader. You just take a picture of it, it'll scan it, and it'll take you to the link. Okay, and up next, last but not least, we have Humaira Siddiq presenting her piece, Understand.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
Sorry. There you go. There we go.
Okay, hi, my name is Humaira. I'm the build side. So, I would like to thank a bunch of people before I start. Mainly, I would like to thank all of you guys for coming out tonight because it means so much for all of us who have not only compiled the book, but showed the world our art. I would also like to thank the Scribbler team for putting this all together. And last but not least, I would also like to thank Ms. Resnick for, as she likes to call it, encouraging, more like ambushing us in the hallways and trying to tell us to submit our pieces. Oh yeah, I forgot, one more person. I'd like to thank my parents for raising an amazing, smart, intelligent person such as I. Okay, So, I want to tell you, I'm going to be talking, or reading, more like, poetry. And I started writing poetry when I was 12 years old. And I wrote poetry because I was really mad. Well, not really mad, but every single time I got into a fight at school, I'd put it down on paper. Because I wasn't allowed to physically hit people. And so I'd put it into words. As I got older, I began to appreciate poetry more. Because it's like a Morse code, you know? Because you never know what the author's trying to say. Is the red wheelbarrow represent lust, love, or is it because the author didn't want to use the word black? We will never know. Okay, so my poetry piece that I'm reading is called Understand. And it's from a point of view of a person who's going through depression. And a lot of, the reason I wrote this is because there is a lot of stigma around depression in media. And youth today, they go to their parents and they might say they're depressed. Most of the time, their parents don't take it seriously. And they say, oh, it's a phase you're going through, you know? Why don't you get over it? You're so happy. You know, what is it that you're sad about? And sometimes people we don't really know. Because everyone goes through sadness. All of us do. Like failing a math test, Mr. Moreau, and losing a loved one. But that sadness eventually heals, or we think it does. But for some people, it's really hard to escape our own brains. And so I wrote this piece to get inside the head of someone with depression. I hope you enjoy it because this is going to ruin your Saturday night. Okay. Understand. Understand that I have not been here for long, that nothing has. That the me under my skin crawls out at night and screams. Understand that the prints they left over my body have burnt into my soul. That the sky breaks into little pieces of rage and rain sands all over my tears. Understand that I am not one with myself anymore. That I was stronger last year than I am today. That I sometimes curl up in the smallest corner I can find and cry. But I don't want you to see or speak. I don't want you to touch or hold me. Just understand. When time begins to drip faster than the corpses of our pasts, and when the hourglass begins to leak away our dreams, I can do nothing but hurt. I can feel nothing but hurt, and it never goes away. I claw and scratch under myself to escape. What a cruel imprisonment our bodies are. What a cruel barrier they form when we reach into ourselves to break loose and then slam right into ourselves again. Just please understand. I am not a maze. I'm not an interesting mystery waiting to unravel with time. I am not smart and I am not beautiful. I'm simply trapped. And at night when I dream, deserts begin to appear. Mountains and mountains of grains of nothing. Scorpions bleed through the earth. They crawl towards me. I want to run, but my legs begin to melt into the ground. My face begins to peel. A mirror rises to face me with my greatest fear. Me. I panicked and drained, and I begged my bed to swallow me, to surround me, to contain me, before I begin to drip through the stars, through my eyes and through my scars. Just understand and leave me alone. I want to be left alone, to wither away as I please. I don't want to be saved. I don't want to be cleansed or redeemed. I just want someone to understand. Thank you so much.
Sorry for a mix-up. Joy is back, and she's going to present her piece, The Girl.
Hi, looks like I'm gonna wrap up today instead. I wanted to make my poems tell a story and be relatable to my audience. The poems follow a girl as she grows up and tries to fit in with her peers. They focus on the various emotions she feels as a result of this. I created the art with ink and watercolor, which are two of my favorite mediums. I like the way watercolor is free-flowing and that I can use ink to make the exact shapes that I want. This was something that I was really proud of, and I created it originally for a class, so I hope you like it as much as I do. Okay. The Girl. A small child sits off to one corner of the room, her tiny hands folded onto her lap, her delicate lips curved downwards like newly unfurled petals. The spring brings the dead field back to life, new clovers springing up, replacing the old. She kneels down, whispers her love into them. She starts to question why, her stance awkward, her arms crossed over her chest, guarding her heart. A loud laugh echoes down the halls. She stands with a group of girls, a group of baboons. They laugh, she laughs, she wonders if this is where she belongs. Something has changed, her words a double-edged sword, her eyes dropping to the floor, refusing to meet yours. Thank you.
I would like to thank you all for attending today's Scribbler book launch. We hope you enjoyed the creative works and expressions presented today. It brings me a lot of sorrow to know that this year's work in the Scribbler is now over and all I have to do is sell. It brings me even more sorrow to know that this is my last year in the Scribbler. I've had lots of fun creating this book and making new friends. I hope everyone else has had as much fun as me. I'd like to thank my co-editor, Dimitar Tomovsky, for the adventures and memories. Together, we'd like to thank Ms. Reznik and Ms. Martin for their guidance, and for the library staff, even though they're not here, for allowing us to use their computer lab to turn it into our very own publishing house. Thank you all for attending, and have a good night.
And I just wanted to make sure before we wrapped up that we had a round of applause for Dimitar and Nabil and the great job they did. It's not an easy task. You know, when you take this on, you pretty much dedicate your life to the Scribbler for the year. And these guys have been at it for more than just 1 year, and they've become a large part of my life as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a wonderfully precocious bunch of writers. It was wonderful to see. Thank you all for coming out. We've of course now just come to the final portion of the evening. So we're going to have a few of the students cut the cakes. There are just a few things. We'll move chairs out of the way just so you guys can sort of convene more effectively and stuff. And as well, just a few house rules. Just please don't put any cups on any shelves. And also, of course, remember to have your book taken to the cash desk after you have it signed, just to avoid being arrested. Which would be an exciting story for next year's Scribbler, perhaps, but not this year. So, again, thank you all to all the readers and writers as well. Thank you. Big round of applause to everybody. Thank you very much.